Hey, what's going on? You know who it is. It is Bruce Jordan, the Michael Jordan of hotels. And today we have someone incredible that is incredible to hotel incredible.
Love that.
Brandy is in the building. How are you doing today?
I'm wonderful. I'm here at a HoaCon. This is amazing.
You know, I ask everybody this question. How did you get started in hotels?
Oh my gosh. Okay. So I started out with like single family real estate. So I was buying little houses and, actually I bought my first house when I was 18 years old.
Nice.
And that was actually just out of like a necessity of like, I need a house, I need a place to live. Mm-hmm. And so bought my first house at 18, bought my second house at 19, and my third house at 21. And just basically felt like, well, real estate is something that nobody can say no. Nobody can stop you from buying real estate. And so I had ran away from home when I was 14 years old. Mm-hmm. And I didn't really have much prospects of what I was going to do with my life. I had no way to send myself through college or do anything. So I put myself through a couple years of college through a Running Start program in high school and kind of got started in business administration. And then after owning a couple houses, I started to build my company, which does marketing for hotels.
Nice.
So in that process, I started working with hotel owners, and my houses I had turned to Airbnbs. Mm-hmm. So I was at these town hall meetings and I had these hoteliers who were lobbying against Airbnbs. And I started to feel like I was living like a double life. Like I was like excited that I was buying houses, but I couldn't tell my thousands of clients that we worked with that I own Airbnbs as they're saying, we hate Airbnbs and we don't want them to be here. So I said, maybe I should just join them. And I said, okay, I can't buy a big multi-million dollar, $30 million hotel.
Yeah.
I'm not in that position, but maybe I could, not yet.
We're getting there. Come back to her next year.
That's right. But I thought, well, maybe I could start small and maybe I could get just a small hotel. Mm-hmm. So I started to look online I was already part of the hotel motel groups. And so somebody had posted, and this was during COVID, 2020, somebody had posted saying, what's your occupancy? Like just a general question. And somebody responded to that saying, oh, I have a 90% occupancy in Wyoming.
Wow.
And I was like, this is COVID. Like, who's got 90% occupancy? Where are you at? Jackson Hole? Like, I'm thinking there, where are you? And she goes, no, Thermopolis. And
Never
I'm like, what's a Thermopolis? So I Google it, and it's this like small little town. About 4,000 people live there, but it's got hot springs and it's on the way to Yellowstone. Oh. And I'm like, okay. So I kind of ran my normal thing that I do for Airbnbs of like, how much competition is there? Are there other Airbnbs? Are there other hotels? How many hotels are there? And what's their rates? And so then I saw there was a Best Western and a couple other hotels, but the Best Western was getting over $300 a night.
Wow.
In Thermopolis, Wyoming. And I thought, okay, something's going on there.
Yeah, really.
So I actually went there thinking initially that I was just going to buy like maybe a little cabin or like an Airbnb because that was like my wheelhouse. But when I went there, I saw these little cabins on the side of the road and looked like little Lincoln log cabins. And I was like, those are so cute. Well, behind it was an L-shaped motel. And I looked at it and I was like, no, but maybe I could, maybe I could. So this was 12 units in total, including the 5 cabins.
Nice.
And I asked my realtor to call the seller and say, hey, would you be interested in selling? It wasn't even marketed for sale. And they said, yeah, we'd be interested to sell it for $375,000.
Wow.
And I was like, shut the front door. I was like, are you kidding me? And I was thinking, this is crazy. I'm like, okay, doing all my numbers, my spreadsheets, and I'm like, Best Westerns over here getting $250, $300 a night. And this has got these cute little cabins and a hotel. And I'm like, this is like crazy. Like, why are they selling it for this cheap, So I said, okay, I'm interested to buy it. I was able to get financing because I have a background in real estate and with my company. And turned out after everything is closed, I found out that the seller of that hotel was the gal who had posted in that group.
Wow.
And it was actually the same person. And I was like, what? So she actually brought me there without even knowing it.
Unbelievable.
which is just crazy. So that's kind of a
Unbelievable.
long way to explain my first investment, but that's how I got started.
I love it. I love it. Actually, today's show is about first-time hotel hotel owners and hotel investors, and what are some of the things they should look for when they're buying a hotel. Now, you've been through this process a couple of times now.
Yeah.
So, what was the most difficult? Probably not the most difficult, but what are some of the things that we need to know when we're going into a hotel purchase?
Well, I'd say to start off with, the location is paramount. So, but location in a sense that not a lot of people think about traditionally. So a lot of people go into buying houses or hotels thinking, I want to be in, San Antonio or Austin or big cities like Denver. But what I look for when I'm buying hotels is I want to be outside of a state or national park that gets at least 500,000 visitors through that area every single year. So what I'll do is okay, if this is at least say within 30 to 45 minutes of a state park, national park, or recreation area, some area that's getting a lot of traffic, and then you can actually look on NPS website, which is the National Parks website.
Okay.
And it'll show you how much traffic it's getting every single month, every single year. So I'll just pull that up and say, hey, this hotel is about 30 minutes from this national park. So you're between these 2 points.
Okay.
So if you're right at the national park, the rates are gonna be crazy. To buy something is gonna be crazy. But if you think as a traveler, you're like, hey, I would stay 30, 45 minutes away.
To save $1,000.
Yeah, I would be happy to do that, right? So that's what I look for is, can I be a little bit outside? Because then I can get it less expensive, but people are willing to pay it. I'm able to get $150, $250 per night, even as a little roadside property that I fix up, because they're like, I would rather pay $250 to be here than pay $650 or whatever, which can be the case sometimes in Yellowstone and these big national parks. So that's kind of my criteria that I look for, and I'll look all around the country. I'll just look and say, hey, look on Crexi, look on LoopNet, and say, okay, I found a property that meets my criteria, which I like to buy things that are under 100,000 for key.
Nice.
And then say, all right, so what is this near? Okay, and then they'll list it. They'll say in the description, oh, this is next to this, or this gets these kinds of travelers, because they're trying to sell it. So then I just look up that data and see how many people are coming through this area. Is it at least 500,000? And is there other competition? And then are the ratings and reviews already at a point where I can just accelerate from there? So it has to be, close to 4, even if it's a 3.9, and I know I can bump it up to 4.5, 4.6. You don't want to get a 2. If you're at a 2, you know that there's a lot of problems. There's a lot of things happening at that hotel.
Yeah.
So that would be my secondary thing to say is if you're looking at the reviews, you can see clearly, that's a snapshot of what's happening at the hotel.
That's right.
And those guests will tell you.
That's right.
So when you see those indicators, you're like, all right, I want to stay clear of anything in the 2s altogether, because it's not impossible to bring it up, but it's an uphill battle.
It really is. Now, have you had situations where you've been able to rename, new ownership, and so you get a clean slate, or is it you're stuck with what you got if you keep the name?
So I would say, in my case, I end up buying properties that they already have a good reputation, in a sense of they're known around the community as being a quality type of a property. So
Correct.
Even though the price, it may not be expensive, but it's the clientele is not unsavory, I would say.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
So when I'm looking at that, I will either keep the name, or I like to revert back to the original name. So when it was originally constructed, if it was the Midwest Motel, for example, I have a property like that. So it had actually changed names, but I like to go back to that original, because I think it kind of brings it back home to the core of I like the story and the inspiration behind what brought it out. But if it does have, I would say, if it is in a 2, you're between 2 and 3 star rating on platforms, then you definitely want to rebrand the entire thing, I think.
For sure.
Because otherwise it has that connotation, that negative connotation that you just have to fight with. So
as soon as I see that Iron New Brandy sign, I'm there like, oh, this better be better than it was last time.
Yeah, it better be better. Yeah, exactly. It better be better.
When it comes to boutique properties, what are some of the great things that you've seen versus dealing with a franchise hotels?
Oh, well, I love just the creative liberties of boutique hotels, obviously. I mean, that's and I think that's a big draw for a lot of people, is it's like an open slate, it's a blank slate, right?
Yeah.
So you could step in and say, okay, is this, next to a lake, or what is it next to? And then like build off of that. That's what I like to do, is like lean into what's around that area. So when you're in Carlsbad, New Mexico, and you've got the caverns, and you can like lean into that aesthetic of like what's here, because people want to have experience, right?
Yeah.
So they want to feel something different. So you can certainly go to like a Marriott or a Hyatt or any of these franchise hotels, and you have that core experience that you expect and you want. But when you're going to, I think, especially national parks and state parks, you want something a little bit different. You want to really feel what it's like to be in that area and have that experience.
One thing I do love about boutique hotels is, like you said, you get to be a little bit more creative, and then it's not just a box. The other side of it, of course, is the marketing. What are some of the things that you've been able to do to draw in the traffic that you've drawn so you can keep your occupancy up?
Well, I think on the marketing side, a lot of it is social media now, right? So that's where a lot of travelers are finding properties. I mean, they're doing searches and saying like even just unique properties around the country, right? And so, and that's one thing that we obviously feature on Hotel Incredible when we're going around to like a missile silo converted to a hotel, and a cave or a castle. So I think finding something unique for your property that you can lean into, or you can establish something unique for your property, right? So even if it's just a roadside motel, like it could be the only hotel in that area that has X, or the first hotel to have this. So like, could you be the only? Can you be the first? Can you be like that? Something unique about it that makes people go, I want to stay there because I want to say I went to the only, missile silo in Arkansas or whatever, but maybe you can't be that grandiose, but you can certainly even do that with small hotels and make something that makes it really, really unique. And then lean into that on marketing, on the social platforms, on your TikToks and your Instagram and your YouTube, and pull in influencers and things like that to talk about it, so that you can, I've seen a lot of people bring travelers to areas that they would not otherwise go to.
That is right.
I mean, we featured Outpost X, and it's in the middle of Barrow, Utah. So it's just, there's nothing out there. You feel like you're on another planet, but people are driving 3 hours to go there because they want to have an otherworldly experience. So that's what's great about, I think, our day and age is with internet and with technology and social platforms, you're able to do that, to curate experiences and then pull people into places they would otherwise not go to.
Yeah, our next hotel franchise is going to be bucket list hotels.
Yeah, that's right.
Now, when it comes to challenges, because the hotel business isn't all fun and funny games and roses. What are some of the challenges that you face during some of your acquisitions, and how did you overcome them?
I would say the biggest challenge has always been financing.
Yeah.
And I say that because especially when you're in niche markets, when you're in areas that are rural or underdeveloped, the community really needs those properties, and they need the travelers coming in, and it's very important for the area. But at the same time, lenders are looking at that as a risk, right? Because they're like, we're not comfortable with that area. And if you think about it, with the rural properties, typically they're owned by like kind of mom and pop, situations where they're taking cash and they're not documenting everything. And so it's hard to prove revenue. So when you try to bring this to a lender and say, hey, I want to buy this property. And they're like, okay, send us the financials. And they're like, we don't really have any. And so it's like, okay, that can be a challenge when the bank's like, well, how do we know what it's worth? And how do we know, if you default on your loan, what's going to happen to us?
That's true. That's true.
So, but I think not only for the small hotels, I mean, I think everybody faces difficulties with financing, but I would say number one is financing, but usually you can go to small local lenders and things like that who are willing to help out, because they want to keep that growth in the community, right? So it's important for the area to keep people and travelers coming through, because that's for the economy of the local area. And then secondly is staffing. And I think that's just across the board for hospitality in general, is finding good people. But I think if you pay them well and you incentivize them with good, programs and things like that, and just mostly you care about them as human beings, and you express to them often how valuable they are to you, and how much, you appreciate them, your retention is going to be a lot greater. And that's what I've seen in my case too. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Is there anything that they need to know before they should buy a hotel? One person said they need to begin with the end in mind. They should have their exit strategy before they even sign the document. If they're going to exit, when they're going to exit, if they're going to refi, whatever they're going to do.
Yeah.
What do you believe? What do you recommend?
I think that that's important. Yeah, absolutely. Like if you are, I mean, in my situation, I like to just buy properties and hold them and keep them forever. Like I never want to sell them. So I guess I have that end in mind already when I step into it, is like, this is my baby and I'm going to keep my baby.
That's right. That's right.
But I would definitely say that makes a lot of sense, that if you're planning to just buy it and then you're just going to hold on to it for X amount of years, that, yeah, definitely thinking about the end in mind, I guess, would be paramount to that. But also just knowing and believing that that it is possible. So I think a lot of hoteliers or aspiring hoteliers are like, I could never do that. I was that person. I'm like, there's no way. Like, I can't, that's too big of a deal.
Yeah.
Like, that's too big of a thing. Even for a 12-unit little roadside hotel, I thought, this is too big for me. I'm not that big. I can't do that. But then once you do it, you're like, I could do this.
Right.
And then you can do it and again and again and again if you want to. That's what I love about hospitality and hotel ownership, is like, there is no glass ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
You can be as big as you want to be,
Especially for $350,000.
And that's right? And make that money work for you, and then keep reinvesting and keep growing. And the sky is the limit. So I think that's what's really beautiful about this industry and something that I love so much.
Yeah, well, listen, thank you for being on the show. How can everybody get in touch with you?
You can find me anywhere online, brandy.travel, or obviously hotelincredible.com. Watch the show. We're right now in season 5. We'll be airing this August.
All right. And thank you for joining us. This is Bruce Jordan of Michael Jordan Hotels, signing out. Hey, what's going on? It's Bruce Jordan, the hotel revenue expert. I just want to take a quick second to thank you for watching this video. If you could just do us a big favor and just subscribe to the channel. We have a lot more videos like this, more information, great information about hotels. I'm also the author of the Hotel Revenue Bible. You can get that book on hotelrevenuebible.com. And we are here to answer all your questions. So if you have any questions, just shoot us a quick text at 321-321-2002. That's 321-321-2002. And you can book a revenue call. Go to hotelrevenuecall.com and we can answer any and all your questions. Just make an appointment with me. You'll do one-on-one with me. You'll be able to do one-on-one with me, and we could go ahead and get all your questions answered and see if you have any revenue issues that needs to be resolved. Talk to you soon. Thank you again. Hit that subscribe button. We really appreciate you.